off talking about the NHL playoffs. So go ahead and get us started. Because we have some exciting matchups here already in the second round.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like NHL. This topic needs to be brought up more. I feel like the NHL right now they're going up. Viewership wise. They're doing things better. Like I remember First Take on ESPN. They did a segment NHL versus NBA, and they talked about how the NHL, is on the rise, and then the NBA kind of like a little bit on a downfall because in the regular season, the NBA, the stars, they don't really play. They talk about like load management and all that, but in NHL, it's a more serious game. The stars are out there on every regular season game, and they're out there competing, and they're not just going through the motions. Like in basketball, you can go through the motions, but if you do that in hockey, you will get hurt. Basically, you will get hurt in hockey. And playoff hockey, telling you, man, is different from playoff basketball. Definitely, especially
Is
them Canadians. Canadians, they take it like serious. Like they take it very very serious. Okay, so let's start with the West here. Winnipeg. So basically, Winnipeg, they are the President's Trophy winner. So that means that they are the number one overall seed. They scored the most overall points throughout the whole regular season, and they were crowned basically the President's Trophy winner. The Panthers were also crowned President's Trophy winner back in 2021. They won the first round, but then got swept in the second round. And if you're a true NHL fan, you know the curse of the President's Trophy winner. So basically, the curse is if you're a President's Trophy winner, you basically don't win the Stanley Cup.
oh
Yes, so it's a bit of a curse. And Winnipeg, they kind of have the curse. Can they break that curse this year? Let's see as they take on the Red Hot Blues, the most hottest team going into this playoff. I believe won like what 14 in a row going into this.
oh
Yeah, yeah, that's what I heard over at TNT when Chuck was doing his predictions. Yeah,
yeah.
yes,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
basically.
Chief. Yeah, Chief. I'm learning too. My Carlos keeps me on point with all this. Shout out to Chief. He's learning about.
Oh no, yeah. So out in the West, so that's Jets Blues. Jets, they're up 3-2. Game six, I believe, is tonight. I believe Jets and Blues. Game six is coming up down the line. Oh wait, May 2nd. So that's tonight. So they play
They
tonight
play tonight. Yeah.
on TNT. Game six. Can the Jets close it out? Stars, Avalanche, two solid teams in hockey. Pretty similar talents. Um, game seven. Going to a game seven. Going to a game seven. On prime time on Saturday night, 8 p.m. live on ABC,
But
live from Dallas. Yes.
Carlos, let's let our audience know about also this curse.
Well,
Um, with NBA and hockey, if
yeah.
yours, if you're, if if your NHL team gets eliminated in the first round, normally the NBA team does too. So
Oh.
to keep Carlos's pick alive, he's gonna be rooting for the Avalanche to pull this out. So his Nuggets, so not his Nuggets, so the Nuggets can pull it out. Because as
Oh, I
you can
get it.
see, the LA Kings got knocked out in the first round,
Oh yeah.
4 games to 2, and then look what happened to my Lakers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, what about the Minnesota Wild though? Minnesota, the T Wolves, they moved
See,
on.
sometimes there's an exception to the rule
Okay.
because um Timberwolves and Lakers were battling each other, so they both couldn't eliminate each other.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. I get it.
But another exception was the Panthers and the Heat. They don't. I think it's more towards teams that share the stadium because the
Okay.
Panthers and the Heat do not share their stadium. Panthers play down here in Sunrise, Florida, down
Yeah.
here by the mall, and of course the Heat is down in South Beach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, so like back in the day, the Panthers and the Heat actually shared an arena. Like back then, it was called the Miami Arena down in Miami. The Panthers and the Heat actually shared an arena. Actually, like when the Panthers were, growing as a franchise. Then, like in 2000 and I believe 3, they moved to Sunrise, and that's where they've been ever since.
wow, they've been there for a minute,
Oh yeah,
22 years,
yep,
and that is that, and it doesn't look like a pro arena from the outside,
yeah,
but once you go in that baby, woo, that arena is huge.
oh yeah, definitely.
Real quick, have you been to a Panthers game, Carlos?
No, but the closest thing I've been to it was I was at a watch party for the Stanley Cup Final, Game 6, last year, Panthers versus the Oilers. A very crucial Game 6. This was when the Panthers were in the middle of like their downfall. By the way, guys, if you guys did not watch last year's Stanley Cup Final, so the Panthers they won. They basically went up 3-0 in the series, 3-0, right? You would think the Panthers would sweep, go on the road to Edmonton, win the Stanley Cup, and just sweep them. But no, that didn't happen. Edmonton, they blew out the Panthers in game 4.
Hmm.
Returned back home to Florida, game 5. Oh, Panthers might win it. They're in front of their home crowd. This is amazing. Um, franchise first Stanley Cup final. They're going to win in front of their fans. Nope. Their star player came out and played very well, forced the game 6. Then ultimately in game 6, again, basically like it was basically like game 4 all over again. Oilers blew out the Panthers. Crucial game 7. A lot of history was on the line because the Panthers, they were about to do one of the biggest downfalls in sports history. You go up 3-0,
Yeah.
you basically should close them out like in a sweep. But no, this game 7 was very crucial in history because first of all for the Oilers, like bigger than the Oilers, the last time Canada won a Stanley Cup final, Tony,
Yeah.
was I believe back in 1994 with
Jeez,
Montreal.
jeez Louise, I was in ninth grade.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been a while since Canada won a Stanley Cup final, and as you can,
So
yep,
I was gonna say, so for the Panthers who they're rooting for out here, because some very diehard Panther fans, they want that trend to continue.
yes, definitely, yes, definitely. And I feel like the Panthers, this franchise, the Panthers, the Florida Panthers, they've been going through up downs, up downs, up downs. Like when the Panthers were at their lowest, they were talking about relocating the team, Tony. Relocating.
Oh,
The Panthers, Florida Panthers, like
well,
leaving Florida.
well, we win. Well, Floridians are happy that they didn't.
Oh yeah, because at the time the Panthers like they had low attendance, not a lot of people there. The Panthers were average, and the NHL just saw it as like, oh, like South Florida doesn't care about hockey. Like why should we bring hockey to South Florida in the first place? So they were thinking of relocating, but Panthers they went up, and obviously in Game 7, 2-1 Panthers they beat the Oilers and won their first ever Stanley Cup final.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, and since we're still on the West Coast, before we move over to the East, we have one bracket that hasn't filled out yet. So Give us your predictions on who do you think will make it to the second round out of the four teams that are remaining in the first round.
All right, Jets, Blues. Blues, they've been performing really well, but I think Winnipeg gets it. I think Winnipeg will win tonight, game 6. They move on. Stars and Avalanche, it's in Dallas. Um, but the Avalanche, they do have this guy named Nathan McKinnon. He's a pretty well-known hockey player. He's a star for Colorado, and I feel like he will perform on Saturday night. The Avalanche goes on the road to Dallas and picks up the upset win. So it will be Winnipeg against Colorado for the second
Ooh,
round.
all right. So let's move on to the East. I
Oh
know
yeah,
we've already talked about the Maple Leafs and Panthers. So there's one series left to discuss.
yeah. Capitals, Canadians, Montreal against Washington. Washington. I don't know if you guys know this, but it went over ESPN when this happened. Alex Ovechkin. He
Yeah.
broke the all-time goal scoring record. It's basically like breaking the all-time scoring record with LeBron, but it's like the NHL. So basically, what Ovechkin did was what LeBron did in basketball.
Right. And that record by the great Wayne Gretzky
Gretzky,
was
yep,
there for what, close to 20 years? Not
forever.
as long as Kareem's was. Because
Yeah.
Kareem's was over 40 years.
Oh yeah.
But his record, his goal record was over 20 years. And Ovechkin, shout out to Ovechkin,
Yep.
first ballot Hall of Famer,
Oh yeah.
went ahead and eclipsed that this season. Now we need that. We need to get our soundtracks together. I gotta hit up my brother Travell. We gotta get them soundtracks.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
we gotta liven up this show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, when this podcast goes up, we obviously got to update our things, obviously.
Yeah, as we grow, we will.
Yeah.
And all it takes is you guys. If you love our podcast, is donating to the podcast. You know, um, soon as we grow, we'll get members only, and then we'll also be able to take super chats. But for now, only Cash App, and it's on the screen.
Yes, sir. Okay, here's
Sid,
Sid.
Sid, yeah, you saw it too. He beat me to it.
Gordie Howe to Wayne to Alex.
Yeah. Okay, Chief, you know something about hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Chief.
Yeah. All
So
right, so the Capitals, they're the number 1 overall in the East. They beat the Canadians, Montreal. Montreal, pretty good place to play hockey, definitely. But Capitals, 1 in 5 games. They move on. Ovechkin squad. Hurricanes, Devils, Carolina versus New Jersey. New Jersey comes into this game banged up with injuries. They basically came in banged up. Carolina, they're a really good team in hockey, and ultimately they won in 5 games. They beat the Devils in 5 games. So it will be the Capitals taking on the Hurricanes for the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
yeah, you guys check them out. Those hockey games get very intense,
Oh yeah, playoff
and
hockey.